Hi there, and welcome to the Creative Endeavor Podcast. This is the podcast bringing you inspiring stories from creative professionals from around the world. It's real conversations with real artists. And I'm Andrew Tischler, and it is an absolute pleasure to have your company here once again. I am so excited to share this conversation with you. I am talking to Tahlia Stanton, who's a young, vibrant artist based in Victoria, Australia. Now, Tahlia absolutely blew me away in this conversation. For such a young person, only 22 years old, she's cracked some major milestones in her creative journey. Some things that are really unheard of, that some of us artists never reach these levels of success. She's already achieved well over $1 million in sales of original artwork and prints. And in one 24-hour period, she sold $75,000 worth of prints. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. Now, I was blown away when I heard this, and I wanted to hear more about her strategy. How did she achieve that? Now, I know what some people might be thinking when they hear this. They'll immediately put up a wall and go, "Oh, Andrew, look, come on, it's not about the money, bro." And I know, I agree, it's not all about the money. But you know what? Money is very important to the creative journey. And I think a lot of artists struggle in this area. And we better own that stuff. We better really work out what are some of the walls and blocks that we have in receiving and creating a thriving business. I know I'm speaking for myself only, okay? But I had some major blocks up in my creative journey that were really stopping me from achieving the level of success that I really wanted to achieve. And like everybody else, I'm still a work in progress. So when I hear from somebody like Tahlia, it's so refreshing because I just hear somebody who's completely uninhibited. She's just out there doing it, and she has fully owned who she is as a creative. Now, really, I hope you get so much out of this talk, as much as I got out of it. This is a podcast I'm going to keep coming back to. Tahlia is vibrant, she's bright, she's bubbly, energetic. This is just, her enthusiasm is infectious. I love this. Now, there's another thing that's an absolute first on the podcast. She actually sells a painting while we're in the process of having this conversation. She gets a notification on her phone. She sells a big, expensive painting while we're talking. I just think that's so cool. So again, if you haven't already, please do me a huge favor. Leave me a rating or a review if you like this sort of content. If you love the show, leave me a rating or a review on whatever audio platform you're listening on. It makes a huge difference to the show and getting this out to more people. I really appreciate it. Please share it with a friend. And also, just to let you know, there is a video version of this podcast right now on my Patreon page. So if you want to see Tahlia in her studio, and I also share a couple of visuals while we're talking, like shots of her website. When we're talking about particular paintings, I go ahead and put that up on the screen. So if you want to see the video version, you can find that on my Patreon page. Now, in addition to getting the video version of the podcast, you also get from me, I'm a professional artist too. If you're just hearing from me for the first time, I've been painting professionally and selling my work around the world for the last 20 years. And in that time, I've learned a thing or two about painting and the art business and the art world. And with my patrons over on my Patreon page, I share exclusive time lapses, critique videos, access to the exclusive community, the Facebook page that's associated with that Patreon page, and also the video version of this podcast. There's loads of content there. Loads and loads, and it's only $5 a month. So if that sounds like you want to take your painting and your art even further in 2022, it'd be a pleasure to have you there, and you'll get to see the video version of this podcast. How cool is that? All right, I'm going to get out of your hair, bring you Tahlia Stanton. So without further ado, here she is. This is Tahlia Stanton in the Creative Endeavor. Tahlia Stanton, welcome to the Creative Endeavor Podcast. What a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. Seriously, it is an absolute honor. I've been following you for I don't even know how long. let's get into it. I'm just so excited for this episode.
Oh, likewise. Epic. Awesome. Awesome. Look, I want to kick things off. There's so many different directions that I want to go in, but right now, for the people listening, go and follow Tahlia right now on Instagram. I'll make sure that I give the Instagram in the show notes and the description with this podcast. But I find you just so ridiculously inspiring. So I'm looking at your work, right? And it's fantastic. It's whimsical. It's kind of otherworldly. You've got all this different mix of energy and imagery in there. It's kind of abstract. It's kind of representational at the same time. You're skating this fine line between so many worlds at once. I can see one of your beautiful paintings behind you right now. So for the people watching the video version of this, they'll have a real treat and be able to see that. Kick us off, Tahlia. I hope you don't mind me saying this. I don't mean to patronize, but you're very young. And so
I'm a child, yes.
So this journey didn't start that long ago for you, but kick us off. How did your art journey start for you?
Wow. Well, my art journey started when I was 12 years old, I would say. I decided that I wanted to get into this really awesome school, just a local one, Ballarat Clarendon College. I absolutely just, so amazing. But I decided that I wanted to get in there, and the financial situation of my family meant that I could only go in if I got a scholarship. I missed the first one. I didn't get it. So for the next couple of years, I worked my butt off and I created so many pieces of artwork, like hundreds of pieces. I was so focused on achieving this thing that I wanted to get. And I ended up getting the scholarship the next year and double the amount that we were hoping, which was so incredible. But around that time, I was 15 years old, and that's when I started selling my artwork professionally on Facebook. This was back when organic reach on Facebook was a massive thing. So I found a lot of success doing it that way. And I absolutely loved connecting with collectors individually, one-on-one, seeing them, having meetups and all of these wonderful things. Like, they would come to my house and be in my bedroom where I would paint, and they'd come and get their painting. And yeah, it was just absolutely incredible doing it that way. And that really inspired me, because at that point I had no idea how a gallery relationship worked. I had no idea that publishers existed, or all of these different things that are more traditional in the fine art market. And I looked at that and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That to me felt so separated, and it felt so, just a little just a little hoity-toity. I really wasn't into it. It wasn't my thing. It's not my thing. Yeah. And yeah, from then I just decided, I want to do this myself. I want to actually give this a go and pioneer a path for other artists to do the same, which is, I've done it, and that feels incredible. And it's such a sense of accomplishment, honestly. But I was interested in going to one particular art school, I won't name it, and I went in for the interview, had my awesome portfolio. Year 12, it was so dark. It was so dark. I studied the 7 deadly sins. Couldn't be anything further from this. Yeah, it was just total up and down. But yeah, they were looking at my stuff and they were like, oh yeah, this is nice. And I said, so what are you guys actually going to be teaching me in terms of skill? And when I leave this place, what am I going to do? What opportunities are going to be there for me? What are you going to teach me in order to run a successful business and thrive independently? Verbatim, they said, we're not going to teach you anything as much. It's just going to be a community of artists. A community of artists for the hundreds of thousands of dollars that is art school. And I looked at them and I said, when Instagram exists, are you kidding me? Are you joking? So I just picked up my stuff and was like, not happening. And on the train ride home, I spoke to my mother and I was just like, that place is just not me. It's just not me. It's so separated from the collector and the person that's viewing it and the person that's connecting with the artwork. It's in a cold, just blank space. They can't picture it in their home, in their lives. And it feels really exclusive, and not in the sense where it's like, oh, it's an exclusive thing to order. It's exclusive as in people are being excluded from experiencing it. And that really bothered me because I felt very excluded in a lot of ways throughout my life. And that's something that I never wanted to do to anyone that's viewing my work. That's a very big, important value of mine. And yeah, from there, I started painting in my mum's kitchen, not the kitchen, the dining room. And yeah, it just grew from there. And so much painting, a lot of trial and error, failing quite a lot. And then TikTok came along and I jumped on the opportunity because Gary Vaynerchuk told me to do it. So I listened and I did it. And yeah, that's what turned into this. And it's been an incredible journey and I'm very humbled and it's just wild and it's all gone by in the flash of an eye, like honestly.
I hope you don't mind me saying this, and forgive me, we might jump all around
Yeah,
in this podcast, but
that's
your
fine.
artwork to me, it just looks like somebody kind of took the lid off your brain and all these ideas and all this imagery is just pouring out of you. And you seem so open and like this free spirit. You get that sense when you look at your paintings. I'm really interested in what makes an artist tick. Like, where does this stuff come from? What was that driving force? What was it like for you growing up? Like before you kind of discovered your artistic voice, what was it like? Do you mind me asking that? Because
Yeah,
it's interesting, like where people come from. We all have a story, right?
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. That's a brilliant question and one I haven't had in a very long time. So thank you for that. I was the child that marched to the beat of her own drum. You couldn't tell me to do anything. As soon as someone said, "Tahlia, you have to do this," I'd put my arms up, go like this, and go, "Nah, make me. I'm not gonna do it." I did not do a shred of homework throughout VCE. I didn't do any of it. In VCE at like this really like elite private school, I didn't do any homework. Hendo, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Sorry. But yeah, just I was the sort of kid that was very different and like just extremely different. Like I was spent a lot of my time being isolated and growing up, that's something that can feel painful, but in hindsight, I'm so grateful for it because number one, it's character development, honestly, it just is. And it gave me so much drive to want to prove myself, but also it gave me all of this free time to create art, which is something that I'm very, very grateful for. But to me, it started as number one, escapism. And it was a way for young little me to get validation. Like I can't give you any answer that isn't my honest truth. So I love the validation. I'm an ENFP. I'm like, I love it. Like, and we all do, but that blossomed into something that, okay, like, what do I actually want to use it for? Like, how can I actually inspire people and how can I make a difference in this world? And how can I leave it a better place than I found it and create a legacy for myself that also impacts so many other people's lives? Like, I can't even begin to just like to even talk about the messages that I get and the things that people share with me that are so personal and just how what I'm doing has inspired them to actually be able to do this. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of one of my girlfriends. We've spoken a little bit. She's lovely. She asked me some tips on how to sell a piece one-on-one with collectors, and I sent her a few voice messages saying, this is what to, like, do this, and then follow up with this. And then she came back to me about a week later saying just how incredible that information was, in that she was then able to get commissions, and now she's got someone that's, you know, going to be a lifelong collector because of that. And that is just absolutely incredible. And I want to be able to do that sort of thing for more people. Like, I'm so proud of this artist for doing this. Like, and I'm so proud of everyone that wants to pursue this as a career, because it's such a beautiful life that we're able to have these days, because now there has never been a better time to be an artist. It's just absolutely incredible, and I want to be able to share that beauty and to inspire people to do the same. And that's just how I feel about it.
I can see that there's a real, yeah, and you just get that overwhelming sense from just scrolling through your social media, like on Instagram,
Yeah.
and this kind of openness and willingness to share. I just want to share something with the people listening, and I hope you don't mind me reading this out. This is from one of your recent posts, and I just love this. This just got me, Tahlia. What end result do I want for artists joining this course? So you're a teacher as well, and I want people to go and follow that so they can take advantage of some of this teaching. To be able to live a beautiful life freely and thrive through the sale of your artwork, to have all the necessary resources in order to flourish as a creative and grow into guiding light that inspires fellow artists to pursue their calling. This is something that I can tell is really important to you to actually unlock that for other people. So what role do you see there for yourself in terms of facilitating that? Because this is the thing I found is just people hold themselves back, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to do that because it's either too competitive or it's oversaturated or whatever. Or, they're like, oh, well, you're doing it, so I can't do it too. But the thing that I found is just
There's no such thing as competition.
Oh, thank you.
There's no such thing
Amen.
as competition.
Yes, exactly right. And so the thing is
it's
that,
so stupid, honestly. And because not only in your professional career selling artwork and originals, that collector can buy work from both you and the other artist. Everyone can win. I don't understand this whole thing of competition in the art community. It just doesn't exist. It really doesn't. And if it does, it's just in your head. Just being fighting through that and realizing that it's about when one of us wins, we all win.
If only more of us,
it's changing the narrative.
If only more of us felt that way, though, right? It's quite interesting, because that's not the first place that people go to mentally. But I think
it takes time and practice and self-awareness.
Absolutely. And what I see here is that you are unlocking. Well, look, I'm going to speak for myself. You're unlocking something from me. So by following this, it makes me want to just go out there and share more. I'll give you a little bit of insight here. So we used to, just from my own kind of online business, what we're doing over here with our efforts, we used to struggle to get, and I say we because we took on an editor who works for us full time. Shout out to Liam. And we used to struggle to get one video out every 2 weeks. A lot goes into the videos. We're now putting out 5 unique pieces of video content every single week, from 1 every 2 weeks to 5. And what I found is that by putting that out there and by sharing more, more people are watching that. But it's people are like, man, I'm just going to go out there and do it. I'm going to go out there and do it. Yes. Thank you for this. That's awesome. That to me, I don't know. I'm all over the place here.
It's more rewarding than anything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It feels way better than sales, honestly. Just so much better, because you're actually connecting with someone. And especially too, as artists, we are very isolated creatures. we just are. A lot of us thrive in that sort of situation. But just seeing the impact that it makes, I feel for me personally, I'm fighting for the 6-year-old kid that's painting on their bedroom floor. I'm doing this for the 15-year-old that wants to leave high school and actually pursue it now. And I'm also fighting for the 33-year-old single mother that wants to actually do what she wants to do. And seeing the results of that, and that it's actually helping people, is overwhelming. It's overwhelming, but it's so beautiful.
So tell me more about this course then, Tahlia. So what it sounds like freedom of creative expression is a huge part of it. So give me a rundown of what it's all about. Go for it. Plug away.
Thank you. So there are going to be 3 courses actually over the next 2 years. The first one is going to be an art business course. I haven't named it yet. Like I'm within the scripting stage, but it's going to be being filmed very, very soon. I've got 11 modules so far, and it's really in depth. It's literally everything you're going to need to know in order to thrive as an artist professionally, but doing it yourself. Like I'm not going into this is how to get into a gallery. I can touch on that, but I feel the shift in the market and the shift in people's hearts to want to actually do it themselves, because it creates so much freedom, and freedom is my core value. Like just be free to do what you want to do and don't have to answer to anyone. Like I love it. Like the 9-to-5 work week terrifies me. Granted, as artists, we work more like 24/7, just in all honesty. But I'd rather work so much harder and work because you want to do it and it's something that you want to do versus someone else telling you to do something. But I'm not sure what I can and can't share about the course already, because there's a lot. I've been working on it for, I want to say, the better part of a year now.
Wow.
Just working on all this information. It's
Awesome.
also been a lovely collaborative effort. Like I reach out to my audience regularly and ask them about it. Not too regularly, so it's all in their face, but every few months I ask, what do you guys want to see from me? What can actually really help you? Like, what do you need? What do you need now? What do you need in 5 years' time? Like, just, and that's been so incredible. I've found that artists need help with the finances, like taxes and stuff, but unfortunately, because the course is going to be international, I can't give as much information as I'd want to. If it was something that was just within Australia, absolutely, but there are so many different laws and regulations and criteria that you have to meet. But yeah, it's going to be incredible. And then I've got another course which is going to be how to print your own work. Like you've seen our printer set up. We've got 2 ginormous wide format printers.
Show me.
They are.
Show me.
It's
come on.
messy over.
Come on. Let's do it.
All right.
Behind the scenes,
these are
folks.
my printers.
Look at this.
These
In
are
the
my
studio
babies.
of Tahlia Stanton. Here we go. Awesome.
They've got names. The little one is called Shermie, and the big one's called Beth from Adventure Time. So we've got the Canon Pro 2100 and the Pro 4100. They are money printers, essentially, just in all honesty.
Wow.
They are. I think that having a healthy relationship with money is a really important thing as an artist, because we're just force-fed this idea of the starving artist when it couldn't be anything further from the truth, honestly. The amount of money that you can make is literally endless. Because we don't trade time for money, for the first thing, and plus
hang on 1 second. Hang on. I don't mean to break your flow or slow you down, but you just dropped a bomb there on the podcast. Okay. This is the trap. That early on, I was thinking about this from a standpoint of going, when I was working a job, I was like, this sucks, man. And you get in a trap where you're trading that time for money. So what you just said there, like you're basically breaking that paradigm. You're moving past that now to where you're now that's not the limiting factor. So all kinds of things I want to ask you here. All kinds of things you want to ask you. First of all,
go for it.
First of all, the mindset in terms of finances. Were you always like this? Were you always kind of great with this abundance mindset, or has this come out of a place of lack? When I asked that, no, hang on a second. Let me qualify that. Because I was broke, and my brokenness came from broke thinking, right? No, seriously. So when I started out,
I get it.
You're in Dalesford. So for the people listening to the podcast, you might have heard the story before, but I was living in I was living in a factory warehouse unit with Rachel and our two dogs and a cat. And I one morning, I got to tell you this. Okay. So we're there in an industrial factory unit. David Bromley, shout out Dave Bromley. He's at one side of that unit with his epic, beautiful gallery. It had just finished being set up and it wasn't actually open when we were there. But when I left, they started opening here the odd weekend. But I remember we were there for like a solid year. Across the little alleyway from me was an engineering fabrication place. Two doors down was a lady, Julie, if she's still there. She was making muesli and breakfast cereal, like farm style country road or something like that. Down the way, there was there was an industrial laundry, right? And so it was dusty, it was whatever. I remember one morning I come out, I let the dogs go out for a wee in the morning, right? I'm like, come on, go to the bathroom, do your thing. And I'm out there with a mug of coffee, my gown on, and my PJ pants and slippers. And Julie rocks up to work and she's like, oh, you're here early. And then she looks at me. She's like, you never left. I said, Julie, I live here. And she's like looking at the factory unit. She's going, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, it's quite nice. You ought to see it inside. But I'm telling you right now, broke AF, broke.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was a result of I'm going to say it as a result of mindset. So, and you're so right that so many of us creatives have got the broke mindset and we buy into the starving artist, or we know we're going to have to struggle. So what I want people to hear is that, okay, it doesn't need to be that way. Success leaves clues. And right now, okay, this is a very rude question. Forgive me. How old are you, Tahlia? How old are you?
I'm 22.
20, good night, 22. Okay. Right now, listen, you are killing it right now. You're killing it. 22 years old and you're killing it. And this is epic, man.
Yeah.
I've never heard.
There is something that I want to say on that poverty mindset. When I first started this career, I had $20 to my name. $20. I had $20. I face painted on the weekends.
You hustled.
I hate that word. I hate the word hustle. Like, honestly,
sorry.
I hate the word hustle. No, it's okay. It's okay. Like, I just prefer like just hard work, because when you hear hustle, it comes with a bunch of other connotations, and I'm currently fighting through hustle culture and just getting that out of my mind, because man, it's good temporarily, but when you've been doing it for, years and years, it can weigh on you, especially after last year. Like, everyone felt that. We all felt what that was doing to us. Like, especially the last couple of months, it was hard. Am I allowed to swear on this?
I'll bleep it out, but yeah, it was effing hard. Okay.
No worries.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. We're Aussies, guys. We can't help it. Honestly. But yeah, like, it was difficult, but as of January this year, I turned that $20, and we have just made our first $1 million in art sales.
Wow.
I'm a 22-year-old child painting in her grandmother's cottage.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Isn't that wild?
That is like, insane, Tahlia. That is insane. I'm turning bright red right now because I'm embarrassed. I haven't done it yet, but that's so cool.
It's wild.
Yeah.
But like, I'm saying that not to brag, because just that's not what it's about. But it's like, look at what is possible. And you know what? It really doesn't matter what your artwork looks like. It doesn't.
Really?
Like, what matters is your marketing. Absolutely. Like, I will say that without a shadow of a doubt. Okay. Absolutely.
Secret sauce here then. Okay, secret sauce time. What would you say then would be the kind of deciding factor? What are these marketing strategies? Do you mind, giving our listeners here on the Creative Endeavor a bit of a scoop as to what are these strategies that you're employing? You can be as vague or as specific as you like. Because you can't just drop a bomb like that. You can't just say that on the podcast and let that go. I mean, that's epic. That's a scoop right there. That's amazing. Congratulations, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. it is a team effort. I can't do it without my team, honestly, without
Okay.
my fiance Andrew, and I can't do it without my mother who works for me full time now, and I provide
Wow.
for not only just myself but my mum and my siblings, and that's just so incredible. It's a goal that I've always had, to retire my family. Um, but yeah, where do I even begin with that? I really want to stress that it truly doesn't matter what your artwork looks like. It couldn't matter less, honestly. You could be creating stuff like Andrew's, you could be creating stuff like mine, you could be creating little line drawings that are just singular, and they form this idea of a face. It just, what matters is how good you are at telling a story and how good you are at marketing. And it's a skill that's learned, but you can be born with natural charisma. I sure as hell wasn't. I wasn't. I was that kid meowing in the corner of the classroom because I didn't know how to interact with other human beings. You learn, and I will have to shout out Charisma on Command on YouTube. Like, they've actually taught me a lot, quite a bit actually, and just how to engage. And yeah, and it's the tone in your voice,
Brilliant
it's the
channel.
vision that you have for your artwork.
Hmm.
Brilliant, isn't it fantastic? But on that, for it doesn't matter what your artwork looks like. I must say the thing that matters the most is your vision and your spirit and what you bring to the table and how you inspire others and what your work's about. What's your vision? Like, what is it about? How does it reflect your perspective? How can you translate that into a marketable piece of content that can capture people's attention and hold it for as long as possible? Like, that's that's all
Yeah.
I'm going to give on
Yeah.
that subject.
Yeah. No,
Because there's a
listen.
lot for the course that goes into this. Is
Wow, wow, wow. Well, I'm signing up for your
that good?
course. I'm signing up. That's brilliant. It's brilliant. Okay, this is okay. So what? Give me a vision then, Talia, because I'm a big believer, that the viewer brings the vast majority of meaning when it comes to art. That I don't want to really preempt
Yeah.
or over direct my viewer, but the way I kind of think about this is like, okay, they've got a life story, they're bringing it to it. So anytime they're looking at a piece of art, it's almost like them looking in a mirror. So what they're bringing to it
Yeah,
is what they get
I
out of it.
agree.
But when I see your work, okay, I again, I see this. Okay, straight up, I'm going to be honest with you.
Life.
Okay, no, no,
Yeah.
well, okay, but here's the deal. Like it you skate that fine line so beautifully between the abstract, and I love to hate on the abstract, okay, I'm not going to lie, but that representational and abstract, bringing them together, and you create something that's just so beautiful. And I'm going to start collecting a few of these, at least your prints, because I probably can't afford your originals because the value's got to be going up for sure. but
I'll
but
trade ya.
it's
I'll trade.
uh, deal, you're on. Okay, so
Awesome.
this is so cool though. Like let's take that bee that you did, for instance, the bumblebee, exquisitely well
Simple
painted.
sweetness.
Is that what it's called? Oh, beautiful.
Simple sweetness.
I
Yeah.
love it. I
All the
love it.
titles are branded. Like, every title that you do of your artwork has to be branded. Like, everything that you do has to be done in context to brand. Like, everything.
I'm going to get out your way. Okay. I know nothing about this. Let me tell you where I'm coming from. Okay. So
Really?
no, look, I don't. I'm a landscape painter from Perth. Okay, I'm a Texas-born landscape painter from Perth. I went into teaching because I had to. Found out I love it. I absolutely love it. I love being on YouTube. I love the online thing. In terms of marketing and branding, are you kidding me? I suck. So I'm trying. I'm trying, but like I've been able to just the thing I've got going for me is the grit. I just don't stop working. I'm like you. I don't stop working. I don't stop working. But you've got something that is the missing piece for so many of us. And we're looking here at you from afar going, she gets it. She gets it. What is it? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. I don't know, but she's got it. So
It's being genuine. It's being authentic. It's being yourself. Like, I'm looking at your whole setup right now, and
okay.
because I've been watching your videos since I was literally a child,
Now I
I
feel old.
understand your brand. I understand your brand. Like
What's
I
my brand?
simply do.
Okay, what's my brand? Because I have no
It's
idea. What's my brand?
very traditional. Like it's very traditional, and I know a little bit of your personality as well too. And something
Uh-oh.
that I personally love, like a massive tip that I have is learning your personality type, like the Myers-Briggs test, like the that stuff. And
Okay.
also understanding your brand from an archetypal point of view. Like you are like look at the work that you create. It is calculated, it is detailed, it is borderline perfect. Like not borderline, it is.
No,
But
stop. Yeah, but thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Andrew,
Mm.
if and I've literally studied your work. I've studied your work. I don't know, like I could show you the pieces that I did that were inspired by your pieces. And
Oh,
if
wow.
someone forced me to sit down and paint that again, I would fight. I would fight.
I don't want to do it. That's so cool.
It's
I'm
not my
turning bright red.
personality. It is not my
Yeah.
personality because
Yeah.
it's very opposite. Like our artwork could not be more opposite. It really couldn't.
Absolutely. Yeah. But you have
Like
this freedom. I guess my point I was trying to make, Talia, is that you have this beautiful freedom to your work, and you're skating that line, as I was saying, between the abstract and the representational. The representational is on
literally
point.
ADHD, and I have no
But it
concentration.
works. It works. And I'm looking at
It works.
it going, I can't pull that off. Like look at the painting that you had printed on the blanket, the lion and the portrait. Epic, amazing,
That one.
amazing. So I love it too. It's incredible. So give me an idea of this thought process behind everything you produce. Has got some sort of story to it. It's got a theme, it's got an idea, and then you take that one thing and you run with it. How does this work from a content
Yeah.
point of view, a merchandise point of view, a branding point of view? I'm so
Yeah.
fascinated by that process.
Well, they all go in together, honestly. Like, but the thing is, as long as you're authentic, everything that you're going to put out is going to be branded. Because if you're able to create a brand that is your personality, you can just do like everything that you will do is in context to brand. So like even what you're wearing, like like it's everything, and people notice more than you think. That but yeah, it tells a story. It just says that you're a regular bloke, but you love to do this thing and you want to help others and you're inspiring others to do this thing, and your studio is set up. It tells a lot about you. You've got life in there, you've got plants, you've got a guitar, clearly you or somebody else plays, you've got a dog in the corner. But it says a lot. It says a lot. It shows me, like, it humanizes you, and it shows that you're down to earth and that you're approachable. And that versus a lot of other artists, that's a completely different story. Most artists wouldn't show this sort of stuff. But it's the brand. And it's like, do you want to dance the line between being like Mr. Fine Artist, or, person that's just authentic, that they are just a human and they're just sharing a little piece of their inspiration and their perspective with others. And it's being really authentic and honest with ourselves. Like, what do we want to achieve? How do we want to inspire people? What work do we want to create? How do we want to express what we have to offer to the world? It's everything. It's literally everything. And with creating content, like, you pretty much hit the nail on the head as soon as you opened your YouTube channel. Honestly, like, the consistent quality is just absolutely outstanding, honestly. But especially creating up like content on your phone, like, it takes a learning curve. And artists, please stop speeding up every single shot. Seriously, you're just losing people's attention. That's the one piece of advice. Like, if you're like, you've seen TikToks and reels where artists,
Time
like,
lapses
it's like
and
just
stuff.
their not time lapses, just like regular
Hyperlapse.
shots, but they've just they've sped it up to like times 10, times 20, and
Wow.
it is a little bit jarring just watching it. And I used to do it, but when I found that I didn't do it, my organic reach just exploded. And it's mixing up the shots, it's keeping it dynamic and interesting. But the biggest thing for branding your content, I would say, is just the words coming out of your mouth and how you say it. Like,
wow.
Honestly.
Wow. That's so interesting. Because I hope you don't mind me getting a little personal here, because I look at my
Yeah, go for it.
my my I'm kind of the weird guy as well. Like I wasn't meowing in the back of the class, but I was making some weird noises, I'm sure. You know, hardly any friends, real loner. And then it took me so long to work out who I was. So when I jumped on camera, I was terrified because I kept thinking, well, what if they don't like me? And then I was because the thought was, well, because they never really have. And then it wasn't until I just went, you know what? So what?
Yeah,
So what? I'm showing up. Now, since doing this, I've made some friends that are like lifelong friends just from doing this online. Like most of my friends now are because I showed up on YouTube. You know, shout out to Samuel Earp.
and you will.
He's like my brother from another mother. He's an amazing guy, beautiful guy. He was on the podcast recently, and you know, one of my best mates, and we'll be lifelong friends. But if I didn't show up on YouTube, I wouldn't have met that guy, and I don't have to watch what I say around
Yeah,
him at all. Like I found that I was like,
yeah,
oh, how
exactly.
do so that must be. I hope that's encouraging for people to hear that. Is it show up and be you,
Yeah.
right? Be you.
And something else that I have to add to that is, and this is something that motivates my work. It's a massive, massive motivator for me. And it's, you're going to die. We're going to die. One day we're not going to be here. Like, what do you want to do with your life?
I'm
Honestly,
not.
do you want to
I'm not.
spend it? Like, but honestly, though, it's like, do you want someone telling you what to do with your life, or do you want to have freedom? Do you want to actually do the thing that you want to do? Do you want to leave an impact? Do you want to inspire people? Do you want to do this? But with that said, doing this and doing it yourself is a lot of responsibility. It's a massive responsibility. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort, and you can't do it alone. And you need to be humble enough to admit that and know that you can't do it. There was a time where I did everything myself, including packaging all of the prints, and there are, I don't even know how many. We've sold well over 10,000 prints. And it's wild. It's honestly wild. But I used to do it all myself, and I overworked myself to the point where I was getting night terrors, and like I was getting like eye infections because I was simply working myself to the bone. Like it was really, really bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was awful.
Wow.
But
Wow. Yeah.
having people, oh my god, sorry, one of my paintings just sold. Sorry, I just
Live on
saw
the
a notification.
podcast here, folks. Talia just sold a painting. Okay, tell me
Oh my
about
gosh,
this.
I want
Tell me
to
about this.
the painting,
Share the
or
moment with us.
what?
Let's go.
Sierra in the United States, I think it's Tennessee, bought Into Paradise, and that's the big dark blue one. It was actually inspired by James Cameron's Avatar, because I'm waiting for the next one.
Wow.
And I love bioluminescence. I am obsessed with bioluminescence. I literally,
Awesome.
anything that glows and has that inner life, and just like it's like, look at me, I'm looking like my artwork right now, but like it just, it fascinates me so much. Like I'm literally so obsessed with life, and that idea that like one day we're not going to be here. I'd like to stop and smell the roses, you know, like
I'll tell Sam.
experience life.
I'm going to tell Sam, different Sam this time, not Samuel Earp, but Sam. Sam knows who he is. He's working in Weta Workshops right now, and he's been working on the latest Avatar. So hurry up, Sam. Hurry up. So yeah, he's down in Wellington.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He
came to see me. He came to see me at the studio, and yeah. So Sam, hurry up. Talia wants to see Avatar too. Let's go. This is so cool. So you just sold a painting on the podcast. That's epic. And so tell me about this painting. So bioluminescence, and so somebody buys this from Tennessee. So are they buying online off your online store? Is it off the website or from social media? Are they buying it?
Well, everyone comes through social media to the website. I've done the entire website myself. I love Squarespace to bits.
Wow.
But I'm not sure if you've taken a look at my new print page, but it is so epic, and that converted so many sales on the first day. Andrew, I've told you.
Okay.
Like it was pretty wild.
Okay.
You know, nah, screw it. I'll tell you guys. In 24 hours, I remind you guys that I'm a 22-year-old kid. We did $75,000 in 24 hours gross revenue in 24 hours. look at what is possible. Look at what we can do. I'm a kid. Like, you can
This is
learn this
insane.
stuff.
This is insane. Listen, I really appreciate you sharing this with us. I can't tell you what a treat it is because, there's so many questions that are coming to mind. And I know people listening to the podcast are screaming at me right now going, Andrew, ask her this. I want to know how. So this is one thing that I've learned, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So you mentioned that you love Squarespace, like the ease of accessibility. Like, first of all, you got to have a website. You got to have a place where
You
people
have to. You
where
have
people can buy
to.
off the website. So do you list the price? You don't list the price. They can buy it directly right then and there. Tell me about that. How do you make it easy for your customers?
Okay. Make it as easy as possible for someone to come and see your work and purchase it. Seriously. None of this DM for a price list, email for inquiries. Seriously, it's pretentious. Knock it off. No one wants to see that. Andrew, would you buy a piece of art doing that? I wouldn't.
I'm ashamed right now because this is exactly the game that I play, because some of the paintings that I saw, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm embarrassed about how much they are.
No, seriously, it's fine. If that's your brand, that's a totally okay thing to do. It depends on your price list. It depends on your collectors, who they are, where you sell it. Like, I'm talking for the person that wants to do it themselves and wants that one-on-one connection with their collector. Like, but if that works for you, that is seriously fantastic. And
I wouldn't say it's working. I wouldn't say it's
do.
working for me. Again, I think this is a mindset thing, but I'm going to take your advice on board.
Do what I'm doing.
I'm going to do what you, well, clearly it's working. Okay.
List
so number
your pieces,
one,
list your prices. Hold on. I'm popping up my originals right now so we can have a little bit of a look at what it is that I do, because I edit it so often that I can't really,
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Tahlia. This is what I'm going to do for the people that are watching the video version of this podcast. I'm going to put in a screen grab here of a screen recording of your website. I'll add it in there in post so people can go to your print page, your original page, and we can all observe and learn what you're doing from a business standpoint of ease of access, getting those collectors in there, making it easy for them to buy. Awesome.
I can give you a couple of tips right off the bat, but you'll be able to see that just through looking at some of these pages. So, for example, if Andrew will pop up one of the original section on my website, you can see that there are a lot of photographs of the artwork. You want to see, to be able to see the close-up details and it from afar. The photos that I've just taken here are actually just with my iPhone 13 Pro Max. I did all of my studio photography and all the print photography with the 13 Pro Max. The quality is just fantastic. If you have the opportunity to upgrade your phone, just do it. Seriously. You want to create the best looking content for everything that you can, and it's a tax write-off because it's for your business. There you go. So
that's awesome. That's so awesome.
Depending on the price that you're charging for your original work, I always recommend offering free shipping. I could not stress it enough, because I don't know about you, Andrew, but I'll be looking at stuff online, and if someone charges $17 to ship a $100 item, I'll be like, no, not interested. But if the item was say $120, I'd be okay buying it if it was free shipping. It's just something that it does in our minds. Just anytime you can put free on your website, just do it. Well, not always, but just a figure of speech. But I work through Pack and Send, and I just bring the artwork through to them, and they package everything, and then they ship it off. Granted, a courier piece to Dubai could cost me $1,000 to ship it, but it's guaranteed to be safe. It's going to be fine, and we can insure it, and it's wonderful. But if you're selling an artwork for $15,000, you better be offering free shipping.
For sure.
Honestly.
For sure. Okay.
Just think,
that's a good one.
It's empathy for the consumer. It's empathy for the person that's collecting your artwork. And look,
that's
at the end of the day, what's $1,000?
Yeah.
What's awesome. $1,000 if you're spending 15? If you're profiting, let's say, $1,400, $1,500, what's an extra $1,000 to make that sale? And as well too, you are not limited by the sales of your original artwork in order to thrive. You're just not. A single artwork, a single image can make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay.
It's this, as you were saying before, it's this abundance mindset, and just realizing that the opportunity is there. The opportunity has never been as good as it is right now. What are you doing about it? Like, just start creating content. Just, I can't stress it enough. But go for consistent quality over quantity. That's my biggest thing. Like, that's a big thing for creative sustainability, because especially over the last year, it's really taught a lot of us that sustainability is ridiculously important. Like, success is fine and like it's wonderful, but if you are not mentally okay, you can't enjoy it. So what's the point? Like,
Wow.
you know, and I'm not talking about the successes in like someone, you know, seeing your work and doing that and like the legacy side of things. I'm talking about within yourself. Like, you know, it can make it difficult, just being completely honest, you know. And
I used to think that from a health standpoint, if I wasn't feeling 100%, I didn't paint well. But you're quite right about the emotional state as well. If you're not,
but you go through an identity crisis. It's like you're going through art block, but it's like 1,000 times worse, because it's like this idea of, this thing was supposed to make me happy. I haven't been taking care of myself. Why hasn't it made me happy?
Oh my goodness. I'm there now. Okay. Okay. So I get a business talk and I get therapy too at the same time. This is awesome. Okay. So, okay. How do we snap back into it? And because look, this is so awesome. You're producing this stuff. You're 22 years old. You've cracked $1 million already. You made good night. You made $75,000 in 24 hours on print sales. So this, how do you stop that from making you go absolutely mental? Because the success can sometimes be a hindrance as well, you know, because a lot of people, like, I tell you what happened post show, like, and I've been very, very blessed in my past. I had a couple of sellout shows. I did pretty good for a little while there. But post show, I was a heap. I was rubbish. I couldn't paint. I couldn't even work out. I just felt like I was stagnant. Yeah. So how do you stop the success from getting the better of you?
Oh,
you know, because some people, how do you keep an even keel, like, throughout this? Because the success has a
it comes with a cost. It's not free.
A cost, yeah.
Like, it's not free.
For sure.
Like, you have to sacrifice. There's a lot of sacrifice to do this. And it's like, what goals do you want? Like, do you want to be the artist making $75,000 a year? Okay, well, you need to do this amount of work in order to do that. Do you want to get up to the 500,000-600,000 mark? The level of work to reach here is a hell of a lot different from the work over here. But to get to the million, you need assistance, you need a team, you need people that are behind the idea and the vision that you have for the world. Like, you need people that are invested in it. And like, I've like, my mother, she's absolutely incredible. Like, I'm so grateful to have lucked into have been born into a family where they believe that happiness is so much more important than anything else. It's like, it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how successful you are. Success is happiness. I've got that written in my diary right now. Success is happiness.
So the money's just a bonus for you then.
Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it for too long, because number one, it'll overwhelm you. And two, your motivators will be in the wrong place. Like, right. People have done atrocious things in the name of money. Don't let it be something that can be a corrupting force. It can be something wonderful. What do you want to achieve that can actually give back? Something that's a massive thing for me is that this financial year, I want to have donated $50,000 for wildlife conservation. That's a goal that I have. But in order to do that, like, I'm donating 5% of everything. So this financial year, I need to get to that million in order to do that. So that's what I'm working towards. Like, I love animals, dude. I love Avatar. Sam, get onto it. You know, like, that's a really important thing for me, because, you know, being someone that wasn't very well liked, like, within her peer group, animals were a sanctuary, you know, like I have a lot to offer, like to, you know, to be grateful for, and like for them, you know, like like if you haven't been in love with an animal, like you just don't, like it's
Yeah.
difficult
Yeah.
to, yeah, but like there's so much of that that goes behind the scenes that, you know, they're there for you, and no words need to be spoken. It's an energy thing, and it's this, you know, and like that's something that I really want to achieve. But yeah, I just the level of output of work that you need to do in order to reach these goals, like, and just be
Mhm.
really honest, what do you need and what do you want?
Okay. Be
Like,
authentic,
I
be
need to make a
honest.
certain
Mm.
yeah, it's being so honest with yourself, and it's a
Mhm.
process. Like, it doesn't just happen overnight. You don't wake up one day knowing who you are and what you want to achieve in the world. You just don't. It's a process. It evolves, like, and have a vision for the person that you want to be in 30 years time. Who are they? What have they achieved? What legacy do they have? How have they helped people? How have they made the world better?
So do you have something that's important for me, and this was really important early on when I was going through a massive personal development phase. I had like heroes, I had art heroes, but I had people that I really looked up to and wanted to kind of, like they've got something happening over there. What are their strategies? I'll give you mine. When I was
Yeah.
first starting my content, from just an online business side of things and a content, I was there were three names that kept coming up for me. Two of them were chefs. One of them was, and none of them were artists. Okay, so there's Bear Grylls, right?
Love
Who
that.
was who was just out there doing it, and I loved how he took something that was impossible and he just took you for a ride. It was like it was out there, having an adventure, squeezing water out of camel dung to rehydrate himself in the desert. Like it was far out and ridiculous. But I love the way he would present. Yeah, right. Okay. I love the way he would present these
Okay.
ideas. No, hey, watch Bear Grylls. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So, but the other guy was Jamie Oliver, and Jamie Oliver, from a business standpoint, was somebody who did an amazing job with this branding. So when you're talking about being
A
an authentic,
giant in
yeah,
branding.
so he's being authentic, and we're talking about charisma, right? As well, like he's just the guy. He's owning every part of his personality, and you feel like you're in Jamie's kitchen. He's cooking for you, and
Yeah.
you're like, but here's the other thing that I loved about him: accessibility. He's doing it now. You can do it, and it's like, oh, now I
Yep.
know how to make the perfect quiche. Thanks, man. Yeah, awesome. So,
Absolutely.
and from a
Absolutely.
slightly different point of view, was this guy, Heston Blumenthal. Now,
No
Heston
idea.
was doing he's another chef, okay, but he was doing this thing from a TV chef, but he was a science guy. He was about the science of cooking, and he would take really out there concepts and he would just wow you with what he was able to create. And I remember, like, he was doing this thing about Heston's Feasts, I think it was called, and I straight up ripped off his intro. And that was my first channel trailer, or my first video trailer. I was taking line by line what he was saying. It's like, what I want to do here is I want to teach you how to make the perfect whatever at home, or whatever. So I said, what I want to do is demystify my techniques
Nice.
so you can paint these pictures at home. I just line by line. But so I was looking at these people going, wow, what do they have? I'm curious. Who are your heroes? Who are the people that Tahlia Stanton really looks up to, from a business standpoint, from a personal standpoint, from a, just a hero
Oh
standpoint?
my God.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
Wow. Um, I have a lot of artists that I really greatly admire, but if I'm being entirely honest, my heroes are my community.
Awesome.
Like, I want I want to earn what I've got, like this incredible opportunity. Like, don't get me wrong, it's taken a lot of work, but without your community, you've got nothing. You're just a person painting in their studio. Like, they've given me a platform so I can have a voice and I can actually make change in the world. So to me, they're my heroes, and I'll do everything I can to be so present within that community and give them what they want. And like just give them what they need to help them and to make this a reality for them. There are, I'd have to say, a hero of mine personally. Unfortunately, I don't actually know their name. I think their name's Leonard or something like that. I don't know. But it's the creator behind like Stories of Old on YouTube. It's a
Okay,
philosophy channel.
cool.
They discuss. I love philosophy and just that idea of living our best lives and like self-actualization and discovery and self-awareness. I feel like is so important for the creative mind, because without it, like we can't create work that really resonates with ourselves, and if it doesn't resonate with ourselves, like it'll really struggle to resonate with somebody else in a really authentic and genuine way. But yeah, there are a lot, and honestly, like my family as well. I honestly don't spend as much time with them as I would like because of the sheer amount of work. Like I'm a workaholic, in all honesty. Like it's a blessing and a curse. Um, but yeah, just I want to be able to give them back the opportunities that they've given me, and by that, it's just I was lucky enough to be born into a family that values self-expression and humility and honesty and just being happy, and that didn't listen to teachers and didn't listen to anyone else but their true north, like just yeah. And I want to be able to give back, like hence why, you know not to exactly quote Tom Holland or anything, but it's very easy to say that they work for me, but really I work for them, and I work for the community, and I work for my partner, and I work for my brother and sister, and I work for making it a better place for artists to be, just in the world, and that we've got this incredible opportunity and we can actually do something with it and we can make a lasting impact. Yeah, and share our perspective. Like back on the thing that we were discussing earlier about bioluminescence, like I'm so obsessed with life, and that this could literally be our one chance to actually experience it and to be a human being of all things. Do you know the odds of being a human and alive when the internet exists and we're able to talk right now? Like that is just absolutely insane. Do you ever have moments where you just like realize that you're sentient and you're just like, whoa?
Every day.
Right? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
It's
So,
wild. And it's just,
mm.
I'm getting existential. Okay.
Well, no,
Let's
no,
keep
this
going.
is good. I mean, look, I'll tell you straight up. Like I start the day with a prayer every day, and I thank the Lord for the day that He has made. For I'll rejoice and be glad in it. And my wife and I will sit there with a cup of coffee. We'll look at our son, who's 4 months old now, and we'll just be like, what a beautiful
Baby.
kid. What an amazing life. Like, this is incredible. Thank you, Lord, for this. And then we get to rejoice in the opportunity that we've been given. This is a thing, though, that I've kind of, there's been a huge shift in my life as well, since, just personally, since becoming a Christian as well. It used to be so external for me. Now, I'm not saying that for everybody that they have to access this through something like Christianity. It just happened to be the thing that worked for me. Is that it used to be all about me and my effort, my thing, this, that I did that. And then it became this thing. No, no, no. It ain't you, buddy. You have an opportunity that was given to you. It's a gift. Look after it as if it's a precious
Yeah.
gift. And I found that when I looked at it different and saw it for what it was, that none of this stuff is a given. This is an opportunity. You just happen to wake up. You just happen to be a human being, as you were saying. I love that. Like the chances of
Yeah.
this being alive at this time are ridiculously slim. And I've said on the podcast in the past several times, there has never been a better time to be an artist. I said exactly those words,
Yeah.
in several of these episodes. And I stick to that, even though the world's a very weird place right now. And this podcast, I don't get into it with people about, people know that I'm a little bit of a
Yeah.
conspiracy theorist, but I put that to one side. It doesn't matter where we're coming from or how we're looking at this. The fact is that when we focus on something like that, it robs us of the present moment, regardless of where you're coming from. When you focus
Yeah.
on it, it robs you of the present moment. You have the opportunity right now to do your thing and create out of love in your heart. Go and do that thing. Be you. Go do it.
Yeah.
And by you shining and doing this, like Talia, like what you're doing, you inadvertently give other people permission to shine. And that's what I
To do the
love about
same.
this. So I can
Yeah.
tell that being an artist and reaching out to other artists is a huge part of what you do.
Absolutely.
That's epic.
Definitely. Yeah. Just it's honestly just so wild. And for me personally, like the way that I feel like my work reflects that, like it looks like life, like it's just like I'm personally not religious, but like for me, I see it like I will worship nothing but just life and energy and just embracing the opportunity that we have. Like just to even be alive and experience anything is a gift. It is a gift. So like what are we going to do with it? Like it really just it makes me so emotional just thinking about it. But yeah, like just even if you look at equinox, for example, like you can see how it looks like a lot of facets of life. Like it actually looks like a bird's eye view of when you're coming into New Zealand, like above Christchurch, and it looks like you're looking like the bird's eye view of the grounds. Like it looks like that, you know, like just all those shapes.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Can you
actually,
see
yeah,
that?
yeah.
How
There's a
cool.
top. Okay, so for the people watching this, they'll be able to appreciate this. But if you're listening just to the audio, what are you doing? Jump over on Patreon, sign up there. Listen, it's $5 a month, and what do you get? You get the video version of every podcast of the creative endeavor. But not only that, you get exclusive access to critiques, Q&A videos, time lapses, the whole lot. There is more content that you have time to watch. So jump over on Patreon right now and have a look at the video version of this podcast. So what we're seeing here is a topographical mix
Loves
of
the plug-in.
I got to get it in there. So
I know
the
you got it. I know you got it.
branding, right? Okay, so I'm looking at
Marketing.
this. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a topographical element to it. There's a natural element to it as well, and then you've got the portraiture in there. You've got these really cool placement and juxtaposition of colors. Like your color theory is on point. Look at the warm and cool shifts in this. The
I
red
don't even
green
think
now.
about it.
It's well, it really intuitive, but it just works, man, from a
Yeah.
design point of view. I'd love to geek out with you about art.
Actually, oh,
Go, please.
yes, absolutely. Okay. uh, You know how we all have those movies that really influenced us as a kid? Like just things that
Yeah,
really
for sure.
impacted us, like whether it's the archetypal journey of the protagonist. Like I'm obsessed with film theory, like literally obsessed. But Andy and I were watching Brother Bear. He hadn't seen it before, but we were watching it for the first time. Do you know that movie? Have you seen it? Oh no.
No, I haven't. I'm
There's a
sorry.
scene
I'm
where
not a big
there's a
movie
scene where
guy,
the
but
protagonist literally gets transformed into another creature. He gets
oh
transformed
wow,
into a bear, and these exact colors and
right.
like just the glowing, like because it's like it looks like the aurora borealis when it turns orange. It The whole scene looks like Equinox's piece, and we
Wow.
had the painting there while we were watching it, and and I was just looking at Andy like back and forth, like, that was not intentional, but it looks exactly like it.
That's really cool.
But yeah, but again, back to Into Paradise, the painting that just sold, that idea of bioluminescence, that feeling of just that inner light and that inner
Mhm.
beauty and that vibrancy, like just it's so inspiring to me, because it's this whole idea of like, look at what's inside of us. Look, like just let it be a driving force. Let it actually take the reins and share it with people and share your perspective. And don't, like, what's the word? Don't, like, what's the word? Like, don't suppress it. Don't, is that the word? Yeah,
Sure.
like
Yeah, suppress.
just
Yeah.
don't,
Because we do that, don't
yeah,
we?
just,
We
yeah,
push
don't
that back
suppress your
down again.
expression.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
But yeah, just in that way, like with people that aren't artists and are collectors, well, both are, but for people that aren't artists, I hope that my work gives them permission to actually be themselves and to share it authentically, because a big trauma in my life was being shamed for who I was, like, constantly. And now those people are all up in my DMs, by the way, and I'm just like
Right on. Okay.
I honestly
Well, do you mind me
yeah, like
asking,
it's
Talia, like, so we talking school years now, like, just,
yeah,
general, the
yeah, yeah.
not fitting in type thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Like
wow.
even one of my closest friends who's now actually coming to work for me, like some of their closest friends were like, "Why are you even talking to Talia?" Like that was just how I was.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I'm
It's so
sorry.
interesting
Mm.
now, honestly. Thank you. But honestly, like it it drives me. It drives me.
Well, okay. Well, I tell you what. I
Like,
want to take that back, because I'm not. No, no. And this is going to sound callous. Okay, so don't freak out on me here.
no, it's
This
fine,
is
it's fine.
this is the interesting thing, is that, again, this is why I kind of like to ask people about their stories and their childhood and their upbringing, especially things like school, like, because I remember what that was like, and being misunderstood, and what ended up happening is like, well, I'm not getting any love or happiness or joy here, so what I'm going to do is pour everything into art. And it takes a
Yeah.
particular kind of, I'll give you an example. Okay. I'll give you an example from one of the latest episodes of The Creative Endeavor, the podcast I did with Thomas Fluharty. And we're talking about this artist named Thomas Kincaid, an artist that people love to
Yeah.
hate on. Now, it's said on the back of the book that Thomas Kincaid is the first, and he's probably the only one that will ever do this. I'm just gonna add a caveat right there. I'll tell you what that is in a second. He's the first artist to go public on the New York Stock Exchange. And by the time he died, his company had already traded $4 billion in art sales. Okay. So this is a paradigm shift. Now, what
Nice.
does he do? He does the kitschy little
Nice.
Christmas cottage in the woods with the glowing lights inside and the snow falling outside and
Doesn't
all that.
matter what your artwork looks
Okay.
like,
Okay.
just saying.
But people love to hate on this guy. But when you hear about his story and his life and where that came from, his father left a picture
Mm,
when he was real young. He went hungry often as a child. When his mother would show up with groceries, it was like Christmas Day. And so here's this guy going through an unimaginable amount of pain as a child. And what's he do as an adult artist? He paints the one place he wished he could have been. And what's that do to a person? So with me,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't go through that level of pain. I had my own stuff. We all have our own stuff going on, right?
Yeah, it's
But
subjective.
being bullied in high school and bullied at home, I was like, I'm gonna go and draw, because the drawing is the place where I can create
Yeah.
my own friends. It's like it's a place where I can create another
Ah,
world for myself. And so, but what does that do?
yeah.
What kind of beast does that create? And it's like, now I want to be the art guy now. Like I get to do this because that kid was getting his head kicked in back in school.
Yeah.
So is it a bad thing? You got to ask the question.
It creates a
If
force to be reckoned with.
I couldn't have said it better. I love that. Say that again. Sorry. Oh,
It creates a force to be reckoned with.
I love it.
It does. It does. I wish that more people would tell us that, the more responsibility that comes with just doing this full time is that the less chance you actually have to create work.
Right.
You just,
Right.
oh,
I've been up in this
it's
office for
wild.
5 days in front of the screen, and I haven't painted a
And you
stitch.
haven't painted once. No,
No.
no.
And
Oh.
it's like, how many hours a day do you paint? Let me ask you straight up. Let's bring it back. Here we go. Let's bring it back. How many hours
Me?
how many hours a day do you get to paint?
I hate to answer this question, honestly, but
Do it. Answer it.
before TikTok came along and before the business blew up, I was able to get 60 hours of painting in per week. Now it is a lucky week. It is an incredibly lucky and fruitful week if I get 5 hours per week.
Talia, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so run
It
me through
takes
your
me
day.
now 3 months. It takes me 3 months to finish a painting now.
So run me through your
because
day. How's this happening? And is the answer to this conundrum, is it more delegation? Because you're a master delegator now, it would
yes,
seem. It's so
yeah,
important.
yeah.
So are you looking at expanding your team? What can I
Um,
do for you?
Honestly, there's a lot. I started a podcast and I got one episode in before I was just like, the workload just is so much. Like I just had to put it aside. I've got countless projects happening right now. Like I've on top of doing the course, which is a massive undertaking. I'm also stocking a new place to have my work. I'm working with different companies. I'm working with different business partners to launch new products. I'm constantly working on new things to release, even though it doesn't look like it. Yeah, a lot of it is prints and just taking care of customer service emails, because now that my fiance Andy is now, a lawyer, now that he's finishing up his studies, I've taken over all of the customer service stuff and a lot of the stuff that he would help me with. So that's, a bit of a setback, but fantastic for him. But yeah, just taking care of all of that stuff, making sure that everything's taken care of, that we have stock issues of everything. Yeah, it's a lot of in and out business stuff, a lot of behind the scenes working on just tracking the analytics of everything, making sure that everything's running smoothly, just literal CEO stuff. like, but yeah, I'm bringing on more people now, which is lovely. But yeah, doing a course takes a lot of effort and work.
Oh, it's
like
epic.
a
It's
lot.
epic. Yeah.
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 And on top of
So
just creating content, like
mm,
creating content is a mammoth
oh, it's
thing
huge.
to accomplish. It's enormous. Like
It's
creating
huge.
YouTube videos, like for those of you who don't do it seriously, it like there's a reason why I've posted 3 YouTube videos in 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Try 5 a
Just
week.
oh no, screw that, not happening. No way, no way. Oh my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
nah, that's wild.
So
like
so
seriously,
this
go
is
you.
well again, I mean, but you end up creating this monster that starts to consume you. So there is something to be said for
Yeah, yeah.
delegation. And I'll tell you the thing that I resisted for so long, and I think this is a thing that traps a lot of people, not just artists, but business people in general. And I'd love to hear you
Mm,
reflect on this, because you know your capabilities, but often what we tend to do, because this is our baby and it's our business, we don't
yeah.
expand because we feel like we have to take responsibility for everything because we're the only one that's going to do it right. So consequently, you no, I'm serious. No, listen, Talia.
No,
Look,
you're so right.
yeah,
Seriously, I've tried. I'm gonna butt in right here. I've
go do it.
tried outsourcing prints to everyone. Like seriously, the sheer amount of volume that we have for prints, I have been turned down countless times by print on demand services because they couldn't keep up. Like, there's no way that they'd be able to meet our demand.
She
Like,
broke the
there's no
system,
way.
folks. She broke the
And
system.
we're doing it ourselves, and it's my mother and my 2 siblings who are working in the studio packaging prints for me.
That's
We've got
amazing.
my brother and sister are getting paid what I think $5 to a box to put caps on all of the tubes. It's just like a full-on production line in there. They're loving it. It's like they love the pocket money. My brother, he's a little capitalist. I tell you what, he's like, yeah, NFTs, stocks. He's like 10. He's loving
Oh
it. He
wow.
loves it. He loves it. I'm just like, hey Jack, you want to see our analytics for this month? And he's like, oh, yes. Oh my god.
Wow. Go
Yeah,
kid.
he loves it. He loves it.
That's
But
epic.
yeah, like it's pretty epic. It's insane. But yeah, I've tried outsourcing it, and like just I'm such a perfectionist that everything has to be to the like done to the nth degree.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Seriously, like it is honestly rare that something goes wrong, but like the prints are pristine. They're all cotton rag, beautifully done, like 200-year lasting pigment based inks. Like it's all done to the nth degree. It's perfect. Like I just outsourcing it, we just can't do it because no one can meet my expectation. And
Mm.
it's back to what you were saying, like it's no one can do it as good as as good as we want it done or as good as we can do it. So it's like, where do we want to draw the line in being disciplined with our rest, but also meeting up to the standard that we have for our business? But being disciplined in our rest is something that a lot of us need to check in with ourselves on, and reprioritizing what is it that you want, how much work do I want to put in order to like either have this amount of success, have this amount of growth, make this amount of money. It's being so honest, but a massive thing is rest. And like last year, I was not doing good. I haven't been doing good for a while, but I'm starting to come out of that, which I'm really grateful for. But something that helped me tremendously, which is something that I'm going to be talking about in the sustainability section of the course, is find what your personality type is and literally Google ways that your personality type can rest and unwind. For me, that was gaming. When I was growing up, if I wasn't painting, I was gaming. Yeah, seriously, Andrew, the more violent the game is, the better.
Tahlia Stanton. Okay. All right.
You
All
wouldn't
right.
think it. I posted it on my close friends story and everyone was like, "You're a gamer? Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Grand Theft Auto
Okay.
5, like Assassin's Creed, Red Dead Redemption,
Wow. I did
all of it.
not see
I
that
love it."
coming. Okay.
No
Okay.
one does.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. But what you're saying is really interesting because, and I tell you, this is a thing that I struggle with the most is finding a way to shut off. I mean, people are like, "Oh, well, you're out of balance." So I'm like, well, first of all, what is balance? What does that even mean? Okay. But then second, it's like, well, you need to find a way to recuperate. I think I found it now. Okay.
Yeah.
A big
What
way
is
that
it?
okay, archery, just shooting my bow outside.
Oh my God, I love archery.
Yeah, yeah, it's fantastic. And so
That is awesome.
so I've got we live on a bit of a country property. I'm on the ocean now, and there's a hill behind me, and
Oh
so
my
I've got a
God.
little section in the forest where I've got like a 20 or 30 meter stripe through the trees that I've set up a cardboard box of blankets, and I just fill that sucker full of arrows. So that's a way for me to just kind of stop. And I look at Rachel like I'm a bit bleary eyed, late in the afternoon. I'm like, I got to go and shoot the bow. Like I just got to go and do that. So
Yeah.
and I'm a recurve guy. So anybody asking, that's all. I'm straight up traditional. I was looking at the compound thing, not a big fan. I'm a recurve guy, but there's something about that you kind of go into another mode. But the other thing as well is like I don't take the dog as often as I should go for that walk. I don't go for a swim in the ocean as often as I really should. So this is a great reminder to just find the way you can hit that reset button. But I'd love to
Yeah.
know so tell me more about these personality types. Now I've heard this a couple of times before, but how do you know what kind of personality type you are? And what does that mean for the different mode that you get in when it comes to rest? Because it's so I'm hearing it's different for everybody. Like, because I'm not a couch
Yeah.
guy. I
It's
can't do
different for
that.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, so it's definitely, I'm pretty sure it's the Myers-Briggs test. But I could not stress that one enough, like doing that. And I'm an ENFP type A, and that's a campaigner. So I
Or
love getting people
explain
onto
that. What? So EMF,
ENFP.
ENF.
ENFP. Hold on, let
Okay.
me go and see what they're.
Yeah. Let's get the full definition of this. So that's an acronym. ENFP.
Okay, so so a campaigner is someone that is extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and prospecting. So that's just me. But also another thing that I like is archetypal branding, and that's but it's literally finding your personality and being really authentic with yourself and getting back to the person that you were as a child, before trauma happens to us, or just just getting back to that and
Yeah.
trying to become more of that person that you were. Because when you're a kid, like, you're completely uninhibited, like you're just honestly and authentically who you're supposed to be. Like we already have that personality when we come into the world, because that's what we're supposed to be, that's who we're supposed to be. But going back to that as much as possible. And something that I did in my podcast was I discussed 5 tips to find the meaning behind your artwork. And a big one for mine was to go back to your childhood movies and analyze it from that point of view of like, how did this impact me? How did that impact who I am as a person today? Like, what in their story really touched me? How did that change the way that I maybe interacted with people or just saw the world? But yeah, just doing that is so important.
Let me ask, because we're of a slightly different vintage here. So you were born,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, you were born when I graduated high school. Okay,
Oh my God.
yeah. So you were born in year
That's awesome.
2000, right?
99. I'm
99.
99 baby.
Okay, 99.
Yeah.
Okay, so my bad. I'm sorry. Okay, so 1999. So what movies are you growing up with? What are those big titles for you as a child? This is awesome.
Lilo and Stitch, Brother Bear, Avatar,
Right.
oh man, Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm sorry.
Right.
The horse movie. I love that one. So many.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And I found that a common thread. Oh, Lion King.
Lion King.
I'm obsessed with Lion King.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it's this whole, I found that like a lot of it was that the protagonist is usually quite different, you know, just very, doesn't fit in, but always marches to the beat of their own drum. And that's just a massive part about who I am as a person. But yeah, just being aware of that and looking at that with a critical eye of like, how has that impacted me, can have a massive impact on both your brand, but also your artwork and what it is that you want to do and your goals. But like, for instance, I brand myself as the joyful adventurer. So pretty much picture Captain Jack Sparrow. That's very much so my personality in a lot of ways.
Brilliant.
But also Judy Hopps from Zootopia. People call me Judy Hopps, like in my DMs. Like they don't even say Tahlia sometimes. It's just like, hey, Judy Hopps, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, great, awesome, I love it. But that's just, you know, it's really authentic, but it's having those comparisons and just being like, okay, how does my journey reflect theirs? And a big thing with archetypal branding and with the joyful adventurer, when someone's aware of archetypal branding, it is so noticeable because it's so much more intentional, and the voice behind that speaks volumes. Like Lin-Manuel Miranda, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't know. He is fluent, absolutely fluent in archetypal branding, and you can see it within the lyrics of his songs and just the journeys of the protagonists and how it's reflected. For instance, Moana is an explorer archetype because a lot of their journey has to do with either self-expression or like going on this personal journey and finding what it is that they're after, and more often than not finding that they had it all along. Like it's so interesting.
That's a really interesting arc in so many stories, isn't it? That they end up.
Isn't
I mean,
it?
this is a kind of a.
But it's the words as well.
I'll share with you. I'm going to hold a couple of things up to the camera. I'm going to see if you recognize, because you talk about movies and history. You'll like what I got on my desk. I'd laugh so hard if you don't know what this is. Okay, you ready? Here we go.
Like, nice. The Mandalorian, yeah?
Come on, Tahlia Stanton.
What is it called?
Do you know what this is?
No, it's not the Mandalorian. Oh my God.
You're close.
From Back to the Future. It's
Great Scott, Marty. You know, yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that it was the Mandalorian. Oh my God.
It's the DeLorean. For the people listening to this is the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
I'm a kid. Don't come at me.
All right. Okay, for bonus points, how fast does this thing need to go before it goes back in time?
180?
Close, 88 miles per hour. There you go.
Oh,
this is
I'm sorry.
Now, here's the thing. It's interesting that you mentioned movies. Okay, so I'm going to give you another one. I'm going to hang up on you straight away if you don't know what this is. Here you go.
Pew, pew. Pew, pew.
Goodbye, Tahlia.
I'm sorry.
For the people listening to this, I'm holding
that
up.
That was a hard
one. This is a hard one. This is an X-wing fighter with R2-D2 stuck in there. Okay, so this is going back to the like this is like Return of the Jedi stuff. Okay, this is Empire Strikes Back stuff, Star Wars. All right. Okay, I'm gonna hold up one
Oh,
more. You are not gonna get this. Okay, if you bombed on that one, how about this? You know what this is? Here we go.
no idea.
It says
I'm sorry.
Thunderbirds right on the side of it, so you might
I can't
Thunderbird.
read that.
Sorry, sorry,
I
sorry. There you go. Thunderbird 2. I got
okay.
the Thunderbird 2.
Recently, I found out that I needed glasses, and when I actually got my pair and went outside for the first time and like actually looked through them, I burst into tears
Oh
because
wow.
for an artist, the world is already overwhelming with beauty. But then to get glasses and realize that I wasn't even saying it properly, it was so overwhelming. Like it was just so overwhelming. Like looking at trees now is just like a crazy experience. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But yeah, it was so interesting. And I feel like how we react to certain things like that as well too is so important, like to the voice of behind our artwork. Like it goes into our artistic voice. Like everything does. The way that we brand definitely does. The work that we're creating, what it means to us personally, absolutely it does. But yeah, it's taking note of things that move you and being really aware of what influences you personally within your creativity, because we all have a vision for our work and the sort of people that we want it to connect with, and making sure that it connects with the right person and doing what we can to give it its best opportunity in the world. But being really aware within ourselves as to what the work means, and we don't always have to tell people about it, because it can be something so personal, like very personal. And as you've said earlier, like you don't necessarily want to have your perspective of the work be a hindrance to someone else's interpretation, but you can do both. And like both are correct answers as to what the artwork means. Like they're both right. And like because everything's subjective, but especially your artwork. Like I found my painting Embrace. It's this gorgeous big yellow and pink woman with sunflowers like bursting out of her. I had at least 700 people at least tell me the exact same interpretation of the piece, and it was all that they've just lost someone really close to them, and that painting reminds them of that person. And the woman that actually owns the original Embrace, I traded the original for my wedding rings, but yeah, she just lost her mother, like just lost her mother before the painting was complete. So yeah, it's so interesting to
Wow.
see, like those synchronicities are so beautiful. And for me personally, like I know that we touched on the subject of religion earlier, but I'm pretty sure what I'm called a pantheist, and it's
Okay.
I like it's literally just, for me personally, I see it as we are the universe experiencing itself subjectively, and it's like
Okay. Mm.
that's where those synchronicities happen. But that's just how I interpret it personally.
Sure.
But also the movie Soul, and talking about flow state being that place between the physical and the spiritual is where those synchronicities happen. And if we can stay in the zone and in our flow state and create work from that point of view, and we're in that trance-like state and we're just creating intuitively and we don't even feel ourselves moving, that feeling where you don't feel yourself moving and then you become aware of that, and then you're watching yourself move and like it doesn't even feel like you're doing it.
Yeah, it's called pulling
Do
an
you know that?
all-nighter. Yeah, that's what it's, yeah.
It's called
Seriously, you will
but it's
trip
like that
balls.
being in the zone. You
Yeah, listen, when you get to 3 a.m. At the hour about 3 a.m., pulling an all-nighter,
yeah,
and you're looking at your hand going, who's paying right now? I don't know. No, but I'm sorry.
it's amazing.
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah,
and accessing that flow state is so important. And a lot of us we do it in different ways. And again, I kind of get there through this overwhelming sense of gratitude, which means you can find a
yeah,
flow in every situation, really. If you just go, oh, hang on a
absolutely.
second, it's like, I don't want to be here right now. It's like, well, hang on a second. What is this now teaching you?
Yeah,
And
it's like
why has this been put in
eliminate
front?
that chatter
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
like in your head. It's like as soon
Mm.
as you stop thinking, it's the oh it. that channel, like Stories Evolved, they have a discussion on what is absolute beauty, and they have this discussion about how artists are connected to that state of appreciating beauty. And it's a Van Gogh interpretation. I'm not sure if it's a quote, but he's saying that like when I paint, I stop thinking, and when I stop thinking, I start feeling, and like I exist. It's something along those lines. And I feel like, for me personally, when I'm within that state, the work that I'm creating is so much more impactful, and it reflects it not only in like just how many people desire the piece and how many people purchase prints, but also just like the reaction from people is tremendously better. Like it's really wild. Yeah. I've got no words for it other than it's just, if you can stay in that state as much as possible and create from that genuine place of like you're just a little human that's obsessed with creating, and like give yourself to it, and just be humble enough and open enough to realize that it's not even necessary, like it's not like it's of you, it's come through you, but it's not you in a way.
Wow. Tahlia, what's next
Cool.
for you? What's the next thing? What's on the horizon? Surely you want to get some more hours in at the easal. How are you going to do it?
Yes.
So
Oh my gosh.
what's next on the horizon? Yeah, delegating. All right. Fantastic.
More staff. Yeah, working towards this course. I've shared it to a couple of people. I do have a close circle of artists that are getting some of the information as I'm creating it, and they're all like, this is insane. Like this is wild. And it's coming from a place of, it's always been my dream to, like, you know what it's like when you first start and you have no idea what you're doing, and like you just need someone to help you along that journey. I really truly feel like this is going to be the key and the answer for a lot of people. And like I have so many different peers reviewing certain parts of it, and I just can't stress enough how much I want it to be something that is so valuable and worthy of their time and attention, and have it be something that can actually change their lives. And I don't want to bullshit anyone, because like I've been manipulated by certain groups, like certain art schools, and just the impact that makes when it's not genuine, and when you are being manipulated and taken advantage of, it really sucks. Like it really, really sucks. Like, yeah. And
you got him good though. Look at you. You got him good.
Yeah. I know what that feels like. It's like, and it hurts. I almost stopped painting because of it. Like it's a really nasty and evil thing when that happens, and I just want it to be so far away from that, like honestly, because I just don't want to hurt anyone, you know.
Bless you, Tahlia. Bless you. Look, this is the thing, and I got to tell you again, the love that pours off of you and off of your art is absolutely infectious. And this is the thing, like by being genuine and by going out there, heart in your sleeve, creating like this, as I was saying before, you give people permission to shine. And that's what you're going to do through this course. That's what you're doing right now with your paintings. And that's what you've done with me. Look, I've opened up about stuff in this podcast I was never going to share, as I was saying before. This has been interesting. This has been a wild ride. Listen, and I hope to talk with you again. This has been such an inspiration.
This has been lovely.
Tahlia, what a treat. Thank you so much. I just really want to say it's been a real privilege, an eye-opening experience, and just amazing. What a joy to have you on the podcast. Thank you for being on The Creative Endeavor.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. Seriously, it's been an absolute honor. I can't stress how much of an influence you've been to me, especially in my early years doing this. Like, this is just a dream come true to even speak to you. And honestly. I just thank you. Thank you so much for the work that you're putting out, and thank you for helping other artists, and thanks for inspiring us.
Well, thank you so much to Tahlia Stanton for joining me in this epic podcast. What an adventure this conversation was. Certainly something I'm going to keep coming back to time and again. Now, make sure you find Tahlia Stanton on Instagram. I provided a link to that in the show notes, and her website. You'll find that there as well, the description that accompanies this podcast. Go and find her work, follow her on social media. If you're new and you're starting out your creative journey, or you want to just add to your creative journey wherever you are in your walk at the moment, take on some of these strategies, some of these things that we're talking about in this conversation. Tahlia is one to watch. I really feel she's got her finger on the pulse. She's one of these people that is just going to continue to go from strength to strength and really thrive in this space. I learn a lot from her. I hope to continue to learn from her. And you know what? I really look forward to having her back on the podcast again one day very soon, because we didn't even scratch the surface. Honestly, there's so much more we could talk about. Please, again, if you haven't already done so, leave me a rating or a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It makes a huge difference to the show. I really appreciate that extra time and effort. Thank you so much. And also, while you're at it, please share this with a friend if you think they'll get something out of the creative endeavor. I'm going to get out of here, get back to painting or doing something in the studio anyway. I can't wait to share some more time with you again very, very soon. It's been a blast. I'll see you again in another episode of The Creative Endeavor.